People always want things to change, and stepping up and serving the people is a priority of mine. And I feel, as others have expressed interest, that our people aren't being served, they aren't being represented. People should be at the first priority of every decision made in our government, from local, state, to federal. I'd like to have my chance at being that voice for those people, all those people, not just a select few. There was a major disappointment in our district last year with the closing of the Mental Health Institute. I led a peaceful rally there with Senator Rich Taylor and some other, and Tom Courtney, and people. We rallied together to try to bring to the governor's attention and to our current House representative, Representative Heaton, that this is a service provided to our people, and we needed to keep that facility open. These people have had nowhere to go. Putting them in county jails is the wrong thing to do, and taking them miles to have to get services is the wrong thing to do. The sad thing that happened is that Representative Heaton made a choice, which he personally said it was his hardest choice in 22 years of serving his people in Henry County, but he chose to stay with his party because the governor was of his party. So it's just time for a new voice in the 84th District. First and foremost, accountability. There's a lack of accountability of where our money is being appropriated to. Making sure that these funds for these certain, that committees are set up to appropriate for, are being sent to the right places. I feel that there's been a lack of accountability in our state government on these committees set up, and if you wouldn't mind me saying, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul and get by with it all the time. Us as taxpayers are counting on our government to appropriate the money where it's needed the most. If there's a need for a tax increase to be appropriated for something, I feel myself, and I know others do too, an increase for that tax, as long as it's going for that funding, is understandable. I mean, no one wants to see, taxes increased, but they have been increased, but they're not going for the appropriate funding. So my intentions are not to raise taxes, but I would support things like our water quality that has been raised an issue. I don't think that it should be taken from the public education fund. There should be something set aside for the quality of water. For our clean water, I think in legislations that's going to be a big issue. There should be money set aside, funded for that. And once again, for our public education, for our mental health, for our veterans. There needs to be, we need to be paying more close attention to those that have served us. We should be serving. There needs to be more money funded for them to make them active in the community again and help them with their mental things that they deal with from coming back from wars. And also livable wages, in our workforce. Right now, we have a lot of people in Iowa living in poverty. And now we're saying, the budget isn't balanced. My stance would be to support it. We have these people, once again, that are in dire need of it in a medical case where it helps. We should be helping their, the pain level that they're tolerating. We shouldn't be hindering it. There again, as long as it's used for what it's supposed to be used for, why should our people, these patients, have to suffer? We're putting our people at mercy. And as long as it's regulated, it should be legalized. The recreational use of marijuana, we have other things called sin taxes that are already taxed by our, we're taxed on in our government, such as alcohol and cigarettes. It would be, marijuana could be taxed. It would, if you taxed it, and it would create it would create a taxation that could be appropriated to use in our state governments. I just feel that Representative Dave Heaton he's served his people well over the past 22 years. But then this last decision that he made, as speaking for myself too, if you as a representative, you get into a position where you're starting to forget why you're there, it's time, to get a new voice in, because the people need to be at the forefront of our decisions. And my passion for the people, I'm a machinist chief steward there at the ammunition plant too. At American Ordnance, I work well with the management there to create a harmonious work relationship to make our plant productive. And I just feel that it's time for a new voice, and I'd like to have my first day in sitting in the House for the 84th District.